It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielson and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Oil Stream. It's Nielson, it's Gazzola. Fingers are crossed. Technically, this goes over okay. We're about 25 minutes behind regular schedule because we had some internet issues. We don't know if it was me, we don't know if it was Tommy, but we are live right now. So if you are watching on the live stream, hey, retweet it. Why not? Get it out there to the masses. It's brought to you by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. Pick up your Oilers cups today, 4 of them to collect. Tommy, what's up, buddy?
I blame myself. I just blame myself. I'm sorry. I apologize to our viewers, our listeners, and to you. It's my fault, I think. I'll just take the heat today.
Agreed. Thank you, Tommy. That's the last thing I need. I'm going on Hustler show in like 20 minutes. I got the lock shop tonight. The last thing I need is a horrible internet connection. So thank you for taking that heat today, man. And I owe you one. Okay, I owe you one.
Oh, you don't owe me anything, buddy. You don't owe me anything. It's just a pleasure.
All right, lots to get to. Let's start with the game against the Jets last night. Completely different than what we saw against Calgary. Maybe completely different than what we were expecting. But what did you think of the game last night, Tommy?
I was surprised that both teams didn't have way more chances. There were some chances. I mean, you've got some great players on both ends, and you were going to expect some chances. But I thought we'd see way more goals. I thought we'd see way more excitement. And even though we've kind of seen the Oilers get played tight in the last few games, especially when you go back to the Toronto series, forget Ottawa, but the Vancouver game, the Calgary games, it just seemed like those teams were trying to do what Toronto was doing right on top of the Oilers. It didn't seem like Winnipeg was really doing that. They're a good team. They play the Oilers tough. And I think, it was pretty evenly matched. And maybe the fatigue factor was there a bit, Dusty. 4-6 for the Jets, 5-7 for the Oilers. Maybe it kicked in, and maybe that, led to what was a low-scoring affair. But Connor McDavid just, wow, like beautiful goals. And I remember looking at you guys. I tried to stare at you after the second one. I looked at my brother. I was just like, what did I just see? Like, that was amazing. It was so quick. The way he fires the puck, low blocker on Brossoit both times. They've got the book on LB. They remember him when he was their goalie back in the day. So it was an interesting game, a good win overall. And let's see, they get a day off today, and let's see how they regroup for tomorrow.
First of all, did I not return the glance on the second goal? I feel awful, buddy. Sorry, man. God.
It hurts still right now. I mean, I know it's 15 hours later, but I made a journal entry about it.
Well, do you remember who I was looking at or what my reaction was? What was I doing?
I believe you were wide-eyed, mouth agape, and also in awe of what had just occurred. So I only gave it like a quick glance, like towards maybe 2 seconds worth of glancing towards you, and you were still collecting yourself. And then my brother locked eyes with me, and we're like, "Wow, that was something." So don't worry about it.
Like the second goal, it's not like there was anything spectacular about it, but in those moments, he just makes it look easy to play in the National Hockey League and to score goals in the National Hockey League. And I mean, clearly it's not, but he does make it look that way, which is maybe the biggest compliment of all, Tommy.
And touche. And he's so nonchalant about it, the celebration, and you kind of, it's one of those quick goals where it goes in and you kind of have like a bit of a delayed reaction to it. There's no crowd there to cheer, and you're like, oh, nice goal. Wow. Yeah. Okay. And then when you go back to the video and the replay, there was actually, to get the puck to McDavid was actually a pretty good sequence of events. Barrie up to Cassian, the little dish to McDavid, and then he's just flying. You're just like, wow, that was a really nice goal. You're right. Subtly, when you're watching, you're like, okay. And then you see it again, and you're like, that happened, then that happened, then he did that, and you're thinking to yourself, that was a really nice, impressive goal.
He now is on pace for 99 points, which is just, I mean, in 56 games, it's kind of the beginning of the year when we had this conversation on the Oil Stream, or if you were with us on Two Guys and a Goalie, Tommy, we would have had it, and we were all kind of like, that would be ridiculous. Like, maybe he can't. But he's on pace to bloody do it or come darn close. So that alone is a massive accomplishment. But do you think he actually gets it If not, why not?
Yes, he does get it. And I guarantee you he's thinking about it. That's probably a goal of his, a target of his. He won't say it publicly, but I guarantee you Connor McDavid in his mind is, I'm getting to 100. We're fighting for top spot in the North Division this season. I don't care what it's going to take. If he doesn't get it, knock on wood, it's due to an injury or some team actually figures out how to shut him down.
You watch your mouth. You watch your mouth, Gazzola.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood. It's all good. All good. All good. Yeah. I just knocked on wood too. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I think he's going to get there and he's motivated. I can just kind of see it. Having gotten to know him over the last 6 years a little bit, he wants it. And he's not going to say it publicly, but he's going to get to that 100.
Do you know why? Because he knows how ridiculous it'll be. Like, that'll go down as an all-time season in the National Hockey League. A 56-game season, a shortened quarantine season. Oh, man, what happened in the COVID season? Oh, that was the year Connor McDavid got 100 bloody points in 56 games. Yeah. I said it this morning on my show, like, 97% of this league, no pun intended on the number, but 97% of this league can't get 100 points in 82 games. This guy, I'm not going to say he's going to cruise to it, but he could, and I think likely will get it in 56. Like he's putting up 1980s numbers in 2021, and it's stunning, man. And like we shouldn't be surprised by it, and we shouldn't be speechless at this time, but I still am. It's nuts.
It's funny too. I think the stat was coming out yesterday. The NHL media publication. We got a daily report, and it's like the first time since Ron Francis, Mario Lemieux, and Jaromir Jagr has a player had this many points in 30-something game span. What are they at? 33 now? It was 32 at the time. Incredible. That was 95, 96 when it happened. I think Lemieux had like 160 that year. And to me, I mean, it's almost silly when people try to make the argument that there's anybody as good or better than Connor McDavid. And I think he's really emphasizing that this season. Sorry, Austin Matthews. Sorry to Nathan McKinnon, Nikita Kucherov.
Great players.
You're not there. You're unbelievable players. But Connor McDavid is just on a cut above. Sorry, Sidney Crosby, too, Alex Ovechkin. McDavid's this new, different entity that we get to behold now.
McDavid is the best player in the NHL since Mario Lemieux was in his prime. Like, I honestly believe that. Since Mario was in his prime, and Jagr had some good years in there. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Jagr was dominant as well. But since Mario was in his prime, so like, in that Gretzky, end of the Kings type of thing, 94-ish. Mario obviously went through a ton of stuff. Yep. I think like since that mid-90s stretch, and I love Ovi, and Crosby is bloody phenomenal, an all-time great. But McDavid, he's just different, man. He's just different.
And Lindros's window was too small.
It's too small.
Even though he was an absolute
could have been
force.
But he got absolutely, career got ruined, right? So that was disappointing. But I honestly believe that. Like, I don't even think that's coming across as a homer. Like, does he have to deliver championships along the way? Yeah, I think he does, but I also think he will. Like, he's just that good. So I also think he's going to win the Rocket Richard. And you know why, Tommy? Because he probably just wants to. He wants to, right? Yeah. Like, if he wants to, he will win the Rocket Richard this year. Did you just say the exact same thing?
Yeah, personal jinx.
Yeah. but like, if he wants to win the Rocket Richard this year, he will win the Rocket Richard this year. He's on a level playing field right now with Austin Matthews, who obviously had that ridiculous stretch there for a while. And now if you saw the headline, Matthews filling the net in practice. Like, so he's doing really good in practice. But if McDavid wants to win the Rocket Richard trophy, he's going to win it.
Yeah. I have a feeling, Dusty, I could just picture it in my mind, McDavid in the summer just casually sitting on his couch with like a little checklist. Rocket Richard trophy this year? Yeah, okay, I'll win it.
Okay.
Art Ross, of course. Hart trophy. Do I want to give Leon a chance this year? No. So
he got one last year.
Check it off. Yeah, he got it last year. Ted Lindsay. Yeah, okay. Selke, maybe. I'll put a maybe on that one. So I could just see him doing that. And when he wants to, he could do whatever the hell he wants. That's how good he is.
It is insane. 2 more assists last night for Tyson Barrie, who is the offensive defenseman that Oilers fans have been asking for 20 years,
Yeah.
and they're getting it right now in Tyson Barrie. Why is it working so well for Tyson Barrie, Tommy? What do you think is it about his game that has led to him, as of today, as of right now, he's tied for 15th, not among D-men, among players in the league for scoring?
Yeah, I think he's just figured out how to play with McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Darnell Nurse. Might be the most important part of all of this. I know people like to point to the power play and the Draisaitl McDavid thing, but I think the most important part of the success that Tyson Barrie's having is that he and Darnell Nurse have a really good rhythm going. And I'll say that's the number one factor. He's going to have his naysayers. We saw it on the post-game show a little bit last night. And it's funny, like there's just a small vocal minority in this market that can never be satisfied. But Tyson Barrie is everything the Oilers wanted this season and then some. Let's see where it goes. And the only bit of advice I give to Oilers fans, especially the ones that are finding reasons to poo-poo some of these things, is just enjoy it. You have a good team. Yes. You have the leading defenseman in scoring. You have the top 2 scorers in the league, and your team is tied for first place. Like, enjoy it. This is a good time. And it's the stretch drive. This is amazing. I don't even know how to, like, comprehend. What do I do with my hands, Dustin Nielsen?
You've also got a goalie that's playing at a Vezina caliber level. Like, everything is going right now. Outside of a 3-game blip against the Toronto Maple Leafs, you could not have scripted things any better right now. And this is not on Bouchard by any stretch of imagination, but it's the presence of Bouchard in the system that has led to this Barrie discussion moving forward. And it's the presence of Bouchard that leads to anything really on this blue line right now. And the real conversation here is that's a great thing to have. Like, It's amazing to have a guy who is 15th in league scoring in blue line, another great prospect coming along as well. Like, it's exactly what you've wanted for 10 years. Just don't bitch about it. Sorry.
Right. No, it's fine. But Dusty, it's not like Bouchard. Here's the thing. It's not like Bouchard's pushing Larson or Barrie here. If anything, he's pushing Bear, maybe. Yeah. Bouchard still needs to establish himself at the NHL level. Yeah, it takes games. He's not going to replace, hypothetically, if Barrie walks or whatever, he's not going to replace Tyson Barrie. He's not there yet as a defenseman, as a pro even. And so it's almost a little bit silly that people are like, oh, you got to make room for Bouchard. You got to make room for Bouchard. No, you give him opportunity. You don't just give him the golden platter and say, it's all yours, baby, enjoy. No, you got to give him nibbles, and he's got to get better as he goes along. He's going to make mistakes. And I think it's better to view this as, if anything, a battle between him and Bear to see where it all plays out. And I think you have a little bit of time, maybe a season or two, for them to decide if you're able to keep Larson and Bear. Still a lot of hypotheticals there, but I don't see it as him pushing Barrie or forcing anybody out. If anyone, it's a competition between him and Bear at this point.
Drager mentioned on Insider Trading that Holland's going to reach out to Larson and Barrie and the representatives next week to see if there's an appetite for a conversation moving forward. I think the one thing that you pointed out here on the Oil Stream, brought to you by Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen, DoorDash, Skip the Dishes, Uber Eats, drive-through, 12 locations, 7 of them right in the Edmonton area. I think the interesting thing that you pointed out was his chemistry with Darnell Nurse. And that you can come in and light up a power play, and that's great. Good for you. It is with McDavid and Draisaitl. He has 16 even strength points of his 30, which is pretty impressive too. But how much do you think they look at it and go, man, Barrie and Nurse just work well together, and it wouldn't be bad to stabilize a legitimate top pairing moving forward outside of just the brilliance he's brought to the power play as well?
Hey, if you have a legit number one pairing, I know that they don't have the prototypical number one defenseman or the superstar defenseman, but Nurse is having a great year. Barrie's having a great year. If they like playing with each other and have a good set of chemistry together and understand how to read off of one another, I think that does weigh in on Ken Holland and the brass. They have to think about that and say, we know what we've got in these guys. Then you look at your second pair and go, geez, we might have something good on the second pair. Maybe we get a better left shot defenseman. What's going to happen with Klefbom? We don't know. He's supposed to have surgery in the next week or so here on that shoulder. How long that rehab takes, we don't know. But all of a sudden, you get that solidified in your top pairing, and then you can go down the list, and it makes it a little bit easier. The further down you go the pecking order, generally the easier it gets to make decisions and and dish out contracts and find trades if you need to. It's those big ones and the top dogs that are generally the most difficult. But if you find a way to get that done, you think you have your solution in what you already have, it just makes everything easier.
Last place I want to go, and then I got to hop on with Hustler on Winnipeg Sports Talk. If you haven't checked that out yet, he's doing extremely well with that. Tommy, has Tippett got his goalies in a place right now where they're both in that perfect spot? I mean, Smith's getting a little bit of a heavier workload. When they beat Calgary 7-1 the other day, or 7-3, and he was yelling at the end of the game like, I was just like, this guy's going 300 to Sparta on us here. But then, and Koskinen, I think, settles in nicely in the backup role.
Mikko Koskinen in an ideal world is a backup goalie in the National Hockey League. He's not a starter. He's not a 1B. He's a backup goalie. So when he's getting limited starts like we're seeing, and I think it's pretty easy to distinguish Mike Smith is the number one for this goalie right now, rightly so. It is a good scenario. So, without saying it, Dave Tippett has shown us who his number one is and who his backup is. And now I still think maybe Stalock pushes Koskinen out of the picture. But if you get games like you did from Koskinen last night, there might not be a shot for Stalock even.
You're never going to get a Valen Camus shirt, buddy. I'm never going to give you one if you keep trashing Koskinen like this. It's over. You're not part of the revolution, Tommy. You're not a part of the revolution.
Yeah, ouch. A facetious ouch. And if you ever gave me one anyway, I'd totally regift it.
Well, you could probably sell it for quite a bit online, to be honest with you. So you got that going for you.
I didn't think of that.
All right, buddy. Solid episode. What time's your pregame show get going on 1260 for Saturday?
6:30. We go an hour and a half on Saturday. And say hi to Huss for me. Always love talking with him and all the Winnipeg crew.
I'll pass that along for Tom Gazzola. I'm Dustin Nielsen. Another episode of the Oil Stream brought to you by Popeyes Louisiana Kitchen. Hit them up on Uber Eats, skip the dishes, DoorDash, swing through that drive-thru, get the Popeyes chicken sandwich, and pick up your Oilers cups. 4 of them to collect. Tommy, have a good weekend, buddy.
See you, Dusty.